Hey everybody, 40s here with Shaman Build of the Week, Episode 3. Today's build, or this week's build rather, is Necrotic Cold Golems. I was working on this build a couple weeks ago as a regular golem build, and Aaron had beat me to the punch. Love the guy, love his build. However, this is a bit stronger, and it is a whole lot of fun. So, without further ado, let's get right into the passives. Here we go. Okay, so taking a look at the basic Primalist passives first. We're going to drop 1 point in Gift of the Wilderness, 8 out of 8 natural attunement. We're going to pick up 4 to 5 Hunter's Restoration, 1 into Dual Wielding, 1 into Primal Medicine, and then 5 into Ancient Call. Moving on to Beastmaster, we're going to pick up our Ursine Strength, 8 points there, 4 points Boarheart, 3 Call the Pack, 5 in the Chase, 3 in Porcine Constitution, 2 in Boarheart, and 5 in Axe and Claw. Moving on to Druid, 5 points in Chitness Plating, 5 points in Druidic Prowess, 5 points in Blessed Springs, 5 in River Spirits, and then 5 in Wind of the Leaves. Oh, and we also took 3 in Bushstalker. And then moving on to Shaman, guys, we're going to take 8 in Shamanic Infusion, 5 in Tempest Form, 7 in Silent Protector. This is a little bit variable. You could probably move a couple of points around here, maybe take 4 and put 3 somewhere else if you want. Maybe max out the points over here in Boarheart if you want to. I opted for the Armor and the Mana Restoration. Anyways, moving on, 5 in Totemic Fury, 5 in Earthen Supremacy, and then 5 in Elemental Shrines. You're really going to want this Shrines buff. You're going to need that mana. Okay, moving on to passives. The skills that we're taking in this build are Warcry, Summon Spriggan, Maelstrom, Avalanche, and Gathering Storm. And you're going to notice right off the bat, my Warcry is obscenely high level 29. I think this is actually level 30 in game, but either way, that's fine. It's a lot of points. So let's get to it. Of course, we're going to pick up the Juggernaut. We're going to pick up Breath of Terra. 3 out of 3. You're going to want that healing, okay? You're going to need it. 4 to 4 on Whirlpool for the Maelstrom summoned. The Cleanse on Purging Shout. We're going to take the Berserker node. Love that node. 2 out of 5 in Brutality, so we can get into the Fury Strikes for that attack speed. 1 out of 4 Staggering Roar, and this is just bridging us all the way over here so we can get this as Shallow Breath, and then we're going to turn this into a totem. This is very important because we are using 2 swords that give us +3 to cold minion skills. So as soon as you take this node, as long as you have both of those swords equipped, you will get 6 additional talent points for this skill immediately. 2 out of 5 in Deep Roar. We are using the Warcry Helm, so using this node to convert cold doesn't do anything. However, we still want this crit chance for us and our minions, so we're going to take that. We're going to take the points here and here. And then 3 out of 4 in Battle Cry and 1 out of 1 in Furiosity. This gives us, you're basically always going to double cast Warcry. So you'll have that Cleanse, you'll have those Maelstroms. It feels really good. Moving on to Summon Spriggan, we are going to take Aura of Life, 5 points, 2 in Aura of Kinship. We are going to max out the crit and crit avoidance, the Aura of Loyalty, increase healing to our minions, and the dodge rating per attunement alongside with the Aura. Then we're going to take the ability for the Spriggan to summon Vines, convert it to cold, 3 out of 5 in Frostleaf, so us and minions get additional Aura Freeze Rate Multiplier. 5 out of 5 in Vitality for the Spriggan's health because he's a little stick boy. And then 1 out of 1 in Creeping Roots so he can cast the roots. This is also a cold minion, so when you take this node, as long as you have those 2 apogees equipped, you will gain 6 talents to this. It feels really good. Moving on to Maelstrom, we're going to take the max in duration, 4 points there, 1 point here to bridge us to our Power of the Storm for our indirect storm bolts, additional targets +3, 2 points in mana efficiency, haste, frenzy, area, 5 points for big huge necrotic maelstrom. Looks super cool. You guys are really gonna like it. And then 2 points for chill chance. Okay, this is important. You're going to want this here. Also, as a side note, if you want to take a couple points out of here and put them in here to self-cast, you can. However, you're going to find that your skill bar is pretty stacked, and there's not much room on it for other stuff. Moving on to Avalanche, we are going here. Well, we're basically taking this whole side of the tree to get to Hailstorm. Okay, and I have the Shaman relic equipped, the Primalist relic, and I had rolled a +3 to mine. So if you don't have that, just drop a point out of fall speed, 1 out of mana efficiency, and probably 1 more out of here if you have to. But otherwise, we're making Avalanche follow us. We are making the meteors fall faster, making the meteors appear, generate more frequently. And then this is the most important node, the Coldstone Elemental chance 9%. And this is the second most important node, chance to summon an additional boulder on crit. This is why we want high crit and why we're taking the Spriggan, because the Spriggan gives us 8% base crit. So when you start getting large packs, you will get additional boulders, and additional boulders equals more Coldstone Elementals. Moving on to Gathering Storm, guys. We've got 1 point here, 4 points in Concentrated Storm, 2 points in Eye of the Storm, 1 point in Rending Vortex. Jolting Strikes, we're going to convert to Cold with Frostbringer, 2 out of 3 in the Snow and Ice, and Winter Comes, we're going to drop a point in there. 2 points here in attack speed, point here to give us more mana back, Thunder Strikes, and then 4 points in Friends of the Tempest. Now, I don't know if this was a bug fix or what, but I have tried many different combinations of things to try and get Friends of the Tempest to work with cold minions, and it does not work. However, it works with Coldstone Elementals. Okay, so let's talk about the gear. In the Helm slot, we've got Call of the Tundra. This is for 2 reasons. One, it gives us a bunch of points to Warcry that we don't tremendously need. But what you do want in here is the health gain on freeze. We're going to be freezing a lot of things. That is going to account for probably the majority of your regeneration outside of your Spriggan's healing aura. Okay, so this helm is nice. You don't have to have it, but it is going to feel very nice. And of course, if you can get a 1 LP and throw health on there, that'd be great. I was very lucky, and today just got a 2 LP one, and then slammed it and got even more lucky by getting a double health roll on there. So that feels pretty good. The Death Rattle, my Death Rattle is not very good. But you want a Death Rattle. We are doing, the minions are doing melee damage, and it's not dot damage. They can crit. They're attacking with melees. So yeah, get a Death Rattle. Try and roll it better than mine. You'll be all right. Moving on to the body armor. I went with Attunement, Health, a double health roll, and then Gathering Storm. The Gathering Storm I really want on here. There's probably some room for flexibility on the body armor. You could take the base that has the minion damage implicit if you want to, but I find that the higher up you get in monos, the more you're going to just want health. So other alternatives to this, instead of the Attunement, get like a tier 6 or tier 7 minion health roll on there. Look for health down there at the bottom on either body armor that you go with, though. You're going to need that personal health. I did test this build in 380 corruption. That's where I built this at, and this is one of the very few builds for Shaman that's surviving up there. So your defensive layers are pretty much going to be in place to allow you to survive like 1 hit, and then you have the time to move out of any deadly area and recover. You can't just sit there and face tank everything. That's when you start playing in higher corruptions, that's not an option. Anyways, moving on. Ribbons of Blood. This is going to give you increased health. It's going to allow your minions to leech a little bit, so they don't die as fast, as well as give them some physical damage. And this is pretty easy to get LP on. 1 or 2 is pretty easy. I was able to roll a tier 6 minion damage on there, and then a pretty crappy poison roll. I had other good rolls in the ring, but that's what it picked, so it happens sometimes. And the bread and butter of this build, part of the bread and butter of this build is these 2 Apogées of Lights. Okay, we're going to talk about those in a second. But first, we got to talk about the boots. The Yulia's Path. You need these boots. You have to farm and get these boots if you want to play this build like this. You don't have to play this build like this. You can, of course, go play Aaron's build if you want to. But this build is a little bit more engaging in that it requires you to go into melee and empower your minions. So, these boots are going to give all of your minions plus 2 to 4 melee necrotic damage for the maximum duration of each Maelstrom. Now, we're proccing 4 Maelstroms with our Warcry. We're proccing Maelstroms with one of these idols. I want to get more idols that are good with crit strike avoidance and minion crit strike avoidance. I just haven't got them yet, but I've got one. And then we are proccing Maelstroms in our skill tree. Every time we expend a storm stack, we have a chance to proc a Maelstrom. So what you're going to find is that you're going to be sitting around somewhere around 10 to 20 Maelstrom stacks. It's a pretty significant amount, you know. So at any given time, your minions are going to have, plus, like on the bottom end, they're going to have plus 20 to plus 40 melee necrotic damage. That's with 10 Maelstrom stacks, okay? You always have 10. Well, pretty much always have 10. So plus 20 to plus 40 melee necrotic damage. Now, the Apogees of Frozen Light. These bad boys are sweet, okay? They are going to give your minions a chance to chill when they are hit. Minions are going to deal 14 to 24% more cold and necrotic damage to chilled enemies. Those Coldstone Elementals deal base physical and cold melee damage. And then with our Maelstroms, they are also dealing base necrotic melee damage. So this is just giving us a 14 to 24% more damage multiplier against chilled enemies. Everything is going to be chilled, so that is not a problem. We have 2 of these, so that is going to be quite a bit of a more damage multiplier. And then it gets better. These things generate what's called a stack of Frozen Vengeance, okay, when a minion dies. Now, the Coldstone Elementals are naturally decaying minions, so you will be constantly losing them and regaining them. So you will stack up this Frozen Vengeance very quickly, and when you hit an enemy with a melee attack, you will use a stack of Frozen Vengeance to give all of your minions Frenzy and 24% more damage to chilled enemies for 8 seconds. And you will freeze up to 8 nearby enemies for 3 seconds. So this is doing 2 things for us. One, it's giving all of our minions Frenzy and another more damage multiplier, times 2. And it's freezing, so it'll be proccing that health gain on freeze. So you'll be freezing everything with Avalanche. You'll be freezing things with your melee attacks. This is going to provide the sustain. So when you are moving between pack to pack, you can kind of move in, attack something like once, and then it, as well as like everything around it, will be frozen for a short time, so you can kind of figure out how you're gonna like move around the pack. You can't just sit there and take all the hits. This isn't high corruption. And lower corruption, you probably can take the hits, but if you're pushing 400 plus, then you need to be a little bit more careful, like you would with any build. Okay, so that's the primary synergy in this build, and it feels great, guys. It feels really good. You're gonna have a lot of fun if you can get the gear. You mainly need the 2 swords, the boots, and the helm. Other things like the ring here, the neck, the relic here is easy to come by, but the ring and the neck, they're not mandatory. You don't need them, but it will feel good with them. You're going to want to get a pair of gloves that have the armor mitigation as an implicit. And then if you can also get an experimental roll on there, that would be very nice too. These are a really good pair of gloves. I rolled a lot of bad ones before I got this set, and these aren't even perfect, but they're good enough. You should look for a chance to summon a Thorn Totem on hit with the increased minion melee attack. This is just so you have a totem in case you need the resistances active from the Shaman passive. If you don't need that, go for the idols that have chance to cast Maelstrom on hit every 5 seconds, and minion crit strike avoidance, or you can go for the ones that have base minion crit, the bigger ones, the 1x4s. Look for those. They're all kind of interchangeable. Blessings, the blessings are mandatory either. I took crit strike avoidance. I'm getting it from the spriggan, and the spriggan is pretty healthy. He still will die every now and then, but so if you don't want to rely on that, pick this guy up. Physical resistance. You can also opt to take shred cold armor or shred cold resistance if you don't want this. It'll definitely buff your damage for your minions. I picked armor here, void resistance here. If you wanted to take spell leech, you could, but you'd only be leeching from your avalanche really. I guess from the gathering storms. I don't know if it would account for that much. I find that when you're playing in high corruption, if you're gonna die, you're just gonna die. So it's more about playing the right way, avoiding the things that will kill you, that have to be avoided. Okay, so You got to be smart. Like I said, I'll say it one more time. You cannot just sit there and face tank everything. But this build is very strong. And my last recommendation with this build will be to either familiarize yourself with the A key, which is the command minions to do something. You can hover over the ground and press A, and they will just go to that point in the ground. Or you can hover over an enemy and press A, and they will attack that enemy. Either rebind that somewhere where you can use it quickly, or make yourself able to use A quickly. The more control and the better you are at controlling the minions, the longer they will stay alive and the better this will feel. Believe me, that's very important, okay, guys? All right, and that'll wrap it up for Shaman Build of the Week, Episode 3. Hopefully that this is a fun and entertaining build. I think you guys will enjoy it. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. And like always, if you do enjoy the builds that I make, please give me a follow on YouTube and on Twitch if you can. And I will see you guys next week.